Hello everyone, I'm Babla Jonathan. Thanks, ladies and gentlemen, for joining us on this special program consecrated to the February 9, 2020 municipal and legislative elections in the Republic of Cameroon. 58 political parties are in the race, and of course the campaigns are well on course. The campaigns are gaining steam in different parts of the country, except in the two Anglophone regions of the Republic of Cameroon, where the activities of political parties are slowed down by the current socio-political and security tensions that has been going on in that part of the country, in the northwest and southwest regions of the country for close to 3 years today. Campaigns are near impossible in some parts of the two Anglophone regions of the country. However, some political parties, notably the Social Democratic Front and of course the Cameroon People's Democratic Movement and the Cameroon Democratic Union Party, who are also carrying out some campaigns in some major towns of the two Anglophone regions of the Republic of Cameroon. And tonight we're going to be looking at what the candidates who are vying for municipal and legislative post of responsibility in the northwest and southwest regions of the country and the rest of Cameroon are proposing to the people to convince them to vote for the respective political parties or the list proposed by their political parties. Beginning from my right, we are receiving John Danley Kumaze. He is a former mayor of the Douala 4 municipality and today a municipal candidate of the Social Democratic Front in that part of the city of Douala. Let me welcome.
Thank you, Jonathan, but permit me for a second to just bow in memory of the fallen victims of the senseless war going on in the northwest and southwest regions before I can say something, and also to regret the vandalism that is being carried out on our banners and our posters in the Douala 4 subdivision. And thank you very much for inviting me. Dear viewers, good evening, particularly to the population of Douala 4. I am here for you. Listen very carefully as we carry on this program up to the end, because I have a message particularly for you. Thank you for inviting me, Jonathan.
You're welcome. To my left, we have the former Minister of Forestry and Wildlife, political scientist, member of the Central Committee of the Cameroon People's Democratic Movement, CPDM, a political party, and director of the CPDM Academy. He is the leader of the campaign team in the Kupe Manenguba Division, Southwest region of Cameroon. Professor Elvis Golengola, you're welcome.
Thank you very much, Mr. Babila, and it's a great pleasure to be back in the studios of Equinox in the context of the twin elections, legislative and municipal elections of 9th February. It's a pleasure to share this platform with very distinguished personalities that are the co-panelists. What this shows is that these twin elections of 9th February, being democratic elections because they are competitive, reveal one thing about democracy, and that is that elections are not war. The elections are not supposed to be conflictual. Elections are a legal and legislative instrument or test by which citizens in a democracy make their choices as to who will govern them, either locally or regionally or nationally. But that through the process, we learn from each other, we enrich each other, and we interact with each other. But at the end of the day, all of us come out as one people, one family, one nation, and a rich democracy. There is no doubt that the campaign that is going on now will be tense, and especially knowing very well what is going on in the northwest and southwest region in the last 3.5 years or so. There's no doubt that there's pain, there's no doubt that there's anguish, but we believe that the CPDM carries with it through its campaigns and the record it has established hope for a better future, and that at the end of the day the pain and the anguish that is in the northwest and the southwest regions will go away, because the CPDM is a messenger of hope for a better future.
All right, you're welcome, Prof. His name is known by many. His face also. He's a pressman, Kejang Henry, who is now a municipal candidate of the Social Democratic Front in the Douala 5 municipality. Kejang Henry, you're welcome to the program.
Thank you very much, Babila, and I want to graciously Reverend Professor Ngole and of course my National Communications Secretary, or my National Organizing Secretary, Mayor John Kumasi Ndangle, and I want to equally thank all them and televiewers for the opportunity. We hope that it's going to be a level playing ground for all of us. By the way, it's a democratic process, and I hope that by the end of the day, the televiewers will know who is who in their respective municipality. This is a municipal election and not the presidential election. So at the end of the day, know who you are going to cast your vote for. And I want to believe sincerely that, Cameroonians living in my municipality will certainly cast their votes for me.
Thanks, Kejang Henry. Our fourth panelist tonight is a mayor coming from one of the very difficult areas in the northwest and southwest regions of the country, better still in Anglophone Cameroon, in one of the areas badly hit by the Anglophone crisis. Is coming from Alo, a subdivision in the Libialim division, southwest region of the Republic of Cameroon. Dr. Ntemwa Paul Sixtus, you're welcome.
Thank you very much for inviting me to this program. Your invitation required me to give you and televiewers what we planned to do, what we have done, what we plan now to do in the Alo municipality. I think this is precisely what I have in front of me, and I will share with you what we've managed to do within the context of what everybody knows. We have done a number of things to develop the place and to carry the interests of the people at heart. We've done the little we can, and we'll share with you on this program.
Right. Before we proceed further into the program, let me find out from you, what's the situation back home in Alo village, the southwest region of the country?
The situation is what you already know, that it's quite tense, as Professor just said, and we believe that the tension can be, overcome by education of those involved. And we have the belief that if we handle the issues very judiciously, things will come to some soft spot.
Right. The latest news concerning the February 9, 2020 municipal and legislative elections in the Republic of Cameroon concerns the availability of government or state subvention to political parties taking part in the race. The 58 political parties. It has been indicated that there is a total of 1,700,000,000 francs CFA, which is available for the political parties taking part in the race, and since the early part of today, 850 million francs CFA is being dispersed to the political parties for the first installment, and of course the second installment will be given to the political parties after the proclamation of the results with regards to, and the money will be given to the political parties depending on the results that they will obtain, the number of municipal and legislative seats that they will obtain in the elections. John Ndangle Kumaze, National Organizing Secretary of the Social Democratic Front, former mayor of the Douala 4 municipality, now municipal candidate in the same municipality. Have you received your own share of the money?
Well, we have not yet received anything, but you know that the press communique of the minister in charge of territorial administration said that political parties, their representatives should report today at 2 p.m. So it is definite that our representative must have gone there. But let me say something about this financing. It is, from the communique, we hear that it is for the electoral campaigns. And it is said that the first part of it will be paid and the rest will be paid after the elections. How do you term a project for the campaigns and then you say the rest will be paid after the elections? Will there be any campaigns again after the elections? I will be told that it is the electoral law that states this. But I think sometimes we should be honest to ourselves. This government has been is used to taking us for very ignorant people. You cannot provide money for a particular project that is for campaigns, and instead of paying the money for the campaigns, you say you will pay part of it and then the rest will be paid after the elections, and which is questionable. So I think it's just a ploy, it's a deceit to tell people that 1.7 billion has been earmarked for that, and then you are going to pay 850 million and the balance will be paid after. It's just a ploy that nothing will be paid after.
The Social Democratic Front and other political parties like the CRM have been fighting for the electoral code to be revised, but for now it's not yet been revised, and so it's just obeying to what is written in the law.
Effectively, amending a law is not a matter of just waking up one morning and then you amend it. It is a matter of criticizing it day in and day out so that it should sink into the minds of those who are in position to amend that law. What I'm saying is that it is not understandable. We cannot imagine that you provide money for the campaigns and you say you are going to pay part of it after the campaigns. Say that you will compensate those who have won after the campaigns, after the elections, not that it would be money for campaigns. Let them change the nomenclature of the budget. Let them say that the balance that will be paid is not for campaigns, it's for compensation or saying thank you for having won your elections.
Professor Elvis Ngole, is it logical that money that is meant for an activity is given partially before, and then part of the money is given later, depending on some modalities that have been laid down? Is there logic in that?
Yeah, you know, in our democracy, it's expected that free citizens, be they members of political parties or not, will criticize or make observations about a law such as that. It is the law. That's the first thing, as Mayor Kumaze has just said. It is the law, and everyone who is a participant in this process has accepted that that is what the law is, and that they are willing to respect that law. So we cannot now, in the middle of the process, make as if we didn't accept. We accepted. That is why all of us, the 58 political parties, are involved in the process. So that shows respect for the law, first of all. Secondly, it is good to state.
But the question is that law acceptable?
No, naturally it is acceptable because the 58 political parties that are in competition have accepted the law. That's why they are engaged in the process.
But many of them have been calling for a revision of that.
Yeah, they are perfectly right. They are free to wish that the law be revised or be changed. That's normal in a democracy, and I'm sure at some point, because we're all reform-minded, some reforms will take place. There's no doubt about that. But the law is what it is now, and we are free to make observations and so forth and so on, and criticize that. But it is the law; it cannot change. Because what I wanted to say was that when we criticize, we keep ignoring the fact that yes, the state organizes elections, because all elections are elections that are organized and initiated by the state. And the state, as a matter of law, has taken it upon itself to finance the campaigns or related activities during any election. But the primary responsibility of financing an election in a democracy lies with the political parties in competition. All political parties are supposed to mobilize the funds that they need
for the campaigns.
For the campaigns. And what the state gives is really simply a support fund, because the state, if that law wasn't there, the state could say, okay, whoever wants to run for any office should campaign based on their pockets. And in many democracies, this happens. But in our case, let the law on financing, the state financing of elections, not make the election look like there are no elections. Elections will be elections even if the state was not supporting it, financing it. Because the political parties themselves will put their hands in the pocket and try to chip in and try to finance their campaigns.
And that's what they have been doing, because the money is coming several days after the start of the campaigns. And the Minister of Territorial Administration is explaining, Kejan Henry, that this is the money is coming several days after the start of the campaigns, because the government had to wait for the courts to finish with the petitions filed by some political parties in order to have a full list of the political parties that are taking part in the elections before dispersing the money. Is that explanation satisfactory?
Well, it might be satisfactory, to those who do not understand what it means preparing for an election. Because any nation that has an electoral calendar that is well established without controversies will know that you budget for those things well ahead of time. And just like Professor Ngole was saying, it is not new. Financing of political parties is not a new thing. In fact, we just copied. We copied from the Western world. And each country has different ways of financing political parties. But ours is not even a model, because if we have to copy something that is a model, I think we should copy from countries like Italy. Italy has a very good model in financing political parties. We should not even copy from France.
Can we know a little more about that model?
If I want to tell you about that, I will take 5 days and you will not understand. So it will take time for you to understand and from our televiewers to understand, because it's simple but complex. Italy has the best model of financing political parties. You can verify it from anywhere. But what I want to say is that the minister said they were going to look at the litigations before probably drawing a list of those political parties that are going to participate. Yes, he's correct. I don't have any quarrel with that. But my quarrel is that those are smart ways of, infringing on rights of political parties and Cameroonians, because we don't plan. Look at a country like Kenya. I covered elections in Kenya. They were running 6 elections. I say 6 elections in 1 year, and it was simultaneously run. We are talking about twin. Until people are blowing big noises of twin election. No, Kenya had 6 elections, and those things were well organized. Even though we had some, electoral, should I say malpractice or whatever, but they finally saw reason to bury their hatchets.
So it's a problem of organization.
It is a problem of organization. We knew well ahead that, in fact, 5 years ago, we knew that elections were going to take place. Those things were supposed to be arranged, organized, such that we will not come here and be quarreling about financing. By the way, how much? I heard you talk about 850 million. Do your simple arithmetic. 850 million as the first half to 58 political parties. People who are watching us at home can take their calculators and do some quick arithmetic. Because by the time we were talking, I was doing my arithmetic here, And I discovered that by the end of the day, they will share the 850 million divided by 58 political parties. You will discover that one political party will have something like 20 million francs. Now, take 20 million francs and share to all the electoral districts and constituencies. You will discover that some constituencies will have just 300,000 francs. What a shame. What a shame. Do the simple arithmetic. You will discover that Douala 5 might not even have 300,000 francs. Professor Ngola, please, I'm sorry to say this, but that's a fact. So what are we kidding? You cannot tell me that you are financing or assisting. Yes, the law says in Article 284, 85, 86, and right up to 87 on the financing of political party. Yes, it talks of support. So you have to come and support a political party, political campaign with 300,000 francs. And then because the next half will be 300,000 francs, so 600,000 francs.
The Prof was saying that political parties are supposed to generate enough funds.
Yes, we don't deny. Political parties make their monies through the members. Yes, opposition parties make their monies through their members. CPDM, which is the government party, makes its money through its members. But they make their money through taxpayers' money. Professor Ngola, you have been a minister. In fact, you are still a minister. Right? Now, you went to Bangen.
Yes.
You went to Boya. How much did you spend? Tell Cameroonians what came from your pocket. At least 5-6 million from your pocket. I know.
No, not up to 5-6 million, but
I mean, yours
come from the state.
What did Elonpo spend?
Well, that I don't know.
What did Melamoki spend? So you see, you have the money, you have everything, all the resources. So the issue is that, like Pa Kubaze said, don't take Cameroonians for fools, for ignorant people. You cannot tell me, okay, Babila, just 1 second before you pass the mic to the mayor of Libya. They gave 50 million francs to political parties, in fact, to candidates of the presidential elections. Or election, rather, not elections. Do you know what it takes to fly from Douala to Marwa? With how many people? Hotels, feeding, health, communications. 50 million francs cannot host a grand rally for one day. If you don't know it now. So they should just tell us that there is no money. By the way, I, as a candidate of Douala 5, I've spent my own small money that I could gather ahead of the elections, printing gadgets, and you're still talking to people, and I'm still doing.
And you're still
spending. So I don't expect anything from the government.
You're a good Democrat.
You're still expecting the peanuts.
That's a modern
All right. I should have asked this question to Professor Ngole because he's a member of the Central Committee and should know better. But let me ask this question to the mayor of Alo in the southwest region of the country. You are a member of the CPDM political party, and if the money comes in at the top, it will surely trigger down to the grassroots. Have you received anything?
When they will not yet give it, then how do we have it?
The minister said that the money was available to the political party to come and disburse.
How can you reach a law without being shared yet? No, cannot have reached there.
So how have you been managing to carry on with the campaigns?
We are managing from the pocket, as Professor said.
Yeah, for now, yeah. I mean, I agree with it. And you know what you're saying is, it forces us, as let's say Mr. Kejang was saying earlier. See, at the end of the day, we have to realize that it is you and I, all of us, that make democracy work. And that, yes, the funds that the state has offered to support the process, yes, the amounts might be seen to be nothing or small. But what that does is that it makes us, who are the real stakeholders of democracy, motivated to keep on, as Mr. Kejang has been doing, investing in it, because it is, at the end of the day, citizens' widows' might that makes democracy work. Because if you say you're only looking at what the state will give, at the end of the day, you are refusing to take responsibility for what is yours. Democracy is yours. It is not for the state to sponsor everything, because tomorrow it is probably your party which is going to be at the helm of the state.
And of course, we're going
and
to
of course, you will not say you will sponsor all the elections because you will have all the money. You will not.
maybe we'll probably amend the law.
Oh, yeah, you could amend the law too.
My point was that when I read the communique of the Minister of Territorial Administration, it was for the campaigns.
Yes.
And to say that the part of it will be paid after campaigns, I say it was dubious. Because I shook my head and said he should have said something.
And after the campaigns,
so that was my
depending
point.
on some conditions.
Yes, depending on some conditions. So
if you have some seats
were
at the level of
giving
the
as
parliament
explanation and so on and so forth, does not change my embarrassment and my way of seeing that communique. You give something to somebody, you hold part of it. After the thing has finished, you say you will give to according to
the results.
It's not more the same thing. That's what I'm saying.
Let us look at the situation on the ground in the northwest and the southwest regions of the country. I begin with you, Professor Everest Ngolengole. You were in the southwest, you were in Kupemu division, Bangem, and so on, and you were accompanied by soldiers. Is it possible for anybody to go campaigning today in those two regions, especially in the remote areas, away from Boya Central Town, away from Limbe, away from Bamenda Central Town? The Secretary General of your party, the CPDM, Jean Kwete, was in the Congress Hall in Bamenda today. Is it possible to campaign out of these areas without the military, without the soldiers?
Well, you know, as I said, elections are a state activity, and states, in whatever activity that states carry out, they always bring to bear the means, the attributes that the state has to ensure that that activity is carried out. Elections are one of such activities. All over the world, elections are carried out with the support of the state, in terms of administration, in terms of security, in terms of logistics, in terms of other things. States always do this. What makes the difference between what is going on in the northwest and the southwest and the rest of the country is that the northwest and the southwest have been going through the very serious security and socio-political challenges in the last 3.5 years. And given that the law states that we have to carry out elections there, and knowing very well that the people of the northwest and southwest are Democrats, they are Republicans, they know what democracy is. They too want to exercise the right to choose those who can lead them locally, regionally, and nationally.
And for them to do that with all honesty, with all sincerity, knowing who they are voting. The candidates have to go canvassing for votes, explaining what they are proposing to them, and so on. But the issue is, can candidates go out of these areas, these major towns where there is some degree of security, campaign in places like Kwakwa, in places like Ngi, Atibo, and so on?
Yes, the candidates can go, but we understand, we are not naive, or we are not ignorant of the fact that the last 3.5 years have been characterized by fear. You know, there's a lot of violence, destruction, and so forth, and a lot of displacements of populations. We understand this, and as human beings, we have to empathize and sympathize with our brothers and sisters of the northwest and southwest. But given that during elections you have to have candidates, you have to have electors, you have to have polling agents, and so forth, the state, as it is the case in all societies, provides the minimum or adequate security for the candidates, for the electors, for the polling officers, and so forth and so on, because that's the minimum a state gives whenever it carries out an activity such as elections. It is going to be difficult. It has been difficult because we went to Boya and launched the campaign in the regional campaign in Boya. We could see at Bongo Square publicly,
it was not the usual,
but the measures were taken to make sure. Yes, the measures were taken to make sure that those who could come, came, and they did come. The same for Bangem. I mean, to go to Bangem when you leave Tombel, through Nyasa. So it's not the easiest of things, or to go to Bangam through Melong to get to Bangam is not the easiest of things, but we did do it, and we were guaranteed the security that was offered by the state, and those who came because they were able to overcome fear, and some were candidates, obviously some were electors, and the campaigns are geared towards making the candidates, the electors, and the polling officials know that in spite of the security challenges, they can still carry out this civic responsibility. It's not going to be easy, but you see, life is not always easy all the time. We understand that it is very tough, but we can do it.
All right, Kejan Henry, I see, pressman, your ears and your eyes have been on the ground. You are closely following up what has been happening in those two regions. You're part of the communication department of the Social Democratic Front, but we have not seen the party in those two parts of the country as it has been the case, considering that these are the two areas where the Social Democratic Front has more strength. We have seen Honorable Fritz Etoke in Limbe. We have not seen others in the two Anglophone regions of the country moving to those interior places to campaign.
Well, you are correct, but let me just say that Professor Ngole said something very important. It is each and everyone's universal right. It is enshrined in the Universal Declaration of Human Rights 1948. And in its Article 21, it talks about the freedom to express or to participate in a government and the freedom to take part in elections, which is a universal suffrage, directly or indirectly, and through sacred ballots. All those things are enshrined, which is correct. And it even further goes to say that, well, nobody should prevent another person from exercising such a civic responsibility. And so our local laws were, picked up the shackles from that Universal Declaration of Human Rights. Well, talking about SDF not campaigning, or its candidates not campaigning in some of those areas, and just like Professor Ngole said, the state guarantees the security of each and every one. And so once the conditions are not enabling enough for such things to hold, it becomes a problem. Look at the southwest region. You had just talked about Honorable Etoke. Etoke is in Fako East. But part of Fako East, that is Muyuka, is extremely in violence. And as I speak, I'm sorry to say this, but the person did not know who Kejang is. I was conversing before coming to the studio. The guy was a military officer. He told me there was a very strong battle in Muyuka. Muyuka is part of Fako East, right up to Muyenge. It's Fako East. But so that part is not comfortable with the situation. But now when you move up to, Munyab, we are coming down to Tiko, moving up to Limber, 1, 2, and 3, it's better for them. But Kumba, all those areas. But we understand that we are living in an atmosphere of fear of the unknown, which is extremely normal. We know the situation. Now, but the issue beyond that is, why call an election when the conditions are not favorable? Why call an election in an area which is war-torn, knowing very well that you might not go well with the election? The world is watching us, and they will judge us from the way we are managing our democratic process, because it's a process, like Professor Ngole says. And I think that Dr. Temga Paul will equally buy the idea. Dr. Temga is coming from Libialem. Why hold an election in such restive areas? Why take the lives of people? Professor Ngole, they were caged, I'm sorry to say this, they were caged in Bongo Square. Before then, I think most of them actually left after they flagged off the campaigns. Some drove back to Douala, Others mustered the courage to sleep at the Mountain Hotel.
He
slept there because at the Mountain Hotel and at the Parliamentarian Flat, the presidency is just next by, and the presidency is guarded by the B and the presidential guard, armed, you know, with all the arsenals you can imagine in the world. So they had the comforts and the protection. But then the common man who is threatened by the non-state armed groups, what are they going to say? That is why you see it is not easy for other political parties. You are just talking about the Social Democratic Front. No, which other party has launched campaigns apart from Boya, maybe Limbe, and then in Bamenda? Now you saw what happened. I saw a video in which the Secretary of State for Education, or is it basic or secondary? I think secondary education, Dr. Ashiri Kilo, coming out from an armored car. It doesn't speak well, and I think Professor Chinji, if I still have a recollection of the face, they were coming back from an armored car. Now, once the world watches such a video, what do they talk about the Cameroon's democratic process? Don't forget that international organizations are represented here in the country and they are watching us. So who is fooling who in this whole process? So just to drop the bones, I want to say it is not only the Social Democratic Front that is facing such a problem. All political parties are facing the same problem.
Especially
otherwise,
those of the opposition.
Otherwise, listen, Babila, otherwise, they will not go into armored cars. It is, in fact, I feel very sorry to say these things, but it's so painful because we were not supposed to call an election at this particular time. Yes, I am running for the election. I'm running for the election
and some,
in East Cameroon.
Some thought that the SDF should.
I was supposed to run for the election.
But your chairman said you need to be there in order to continue the fight with him, and not to boycott and so on. So what strategy is the party putting on?
Babila, be very careful with that word. Babila, be very careful with that word boycott. Let me tell you, be very careful with that word. I am one of those who think. Let me just say this. Let us assume that we are all children of the same house, one family. Dr. Temga Paul, Professor Ngolongole, Babila Jonathan, Mayor Kumaze and Kejang. We are all children of one father, one mother. Now, Papa gives money to Mama to cook food because it is not appealing to Dr. Temga. Dr. Temga said, I will not eat. Full story ends there. If you not eat, it's no problem. But if Dr. Temga goes further to tell Ngole, Babila, Kumaze, and Kejang, don't eat that food because it is poison. Be very careful. So if you are not eating, don't contaminate your brothers. So the issue is that if you are not participating in an election, it is your right. Nobody holds you responsible for that.
What if you know that food is going to be poisonous to your brothers?
I will not know. Listen, you don't know. Your mother prepared the food, and let me tell you, there is no mother who prepares food, and don't test to know the quality of the food. Right? Yeah. We should be very careful sometimes when we use the word boycott. It is your right, boycott. But once the national chairman, knowing the circumstances, knowing the political stakes, and of course reading the laws, let me tell you, the LDF has erudites in law at all levels. They have erudites in laws in all the sectors that you can imagine. So that we don't take decisions because we want to please one man. We don't reverend Fundi as God, and Fundi doesn't reverend us, okay, as angels. We respect ourselves. That is why the chairman is challenged during NEC meetings. If he doesn't even take decisions. Decisions are taken and then they are submitted. Sometimes when things are tight, he will say, you people should go and discuss. Come, arrive at a consensus. And it's different from Professor Ngole's party. There's one man there, and I don't want to call his name. He knows the man's name. Because everybody is afraid that, if I say this, you stand and challenge the chairman, Mr. Chairman, not challenging his person, but you are challenging his idea. Mr. Chairman, well, I think with all due respect, if we apply this law, it will not work. And he sees reasons with that. So he will sometimes say, go and discuss. If it's good with you, it's good with me. Then that's right. So the decision to go for election was not the sole responsibility of the national chairman of the Social Democratic Front. No. So
how is the SDF managing to meet the voters in those two regions where things are practically impossible? Managing to meet the voters to canvass for their votes?
No, listen, I don't live in those areas. I think that question would have probably been directed to someone who is a candidate in that area. I'm very sorry to say
You're part of the communication unit of the Social Democratic Front.
Yes, so if I tell you that, that would mean I'm telling you my strategy to win for electorates.
Okay. All right, now to the mayor of Alo. What strategy have you put in place to meet the voters in Alo to canvass for their votes?
You want me to
the situation?
You want me to follow?
Are you going door to door?
You want me to
follow? Are you organizing meetings in private homes and things?
Mr. Babli, I don't think you want me to fall prey to something which the communication secretary of the SDF has just said. He doesn't want to expose his strategies to the press.
Okay, let me rephrase.
At the end of the election, how we did it.
How were the campaigns in Alo? Let me rephrase the question.
No,
how are the campaigns unfolding in Alo?
No, they are not. Of course, the campaigns were launched just a few days ago in Boya. At the level of the divisions, things are still to unfold. I cannot say what has been done because
for now you are still working on the ground. Is that what you say?
Well, I've said we will not unfold our strategies right here in the press. We can tell you later how we arrived at what. All right, not now. But I think we are belaboring things which didn't quite fall within the context of
We'll be coming back to you to tell us exactly, because you have been there for, I think, 1 or 2 mandates.
I just finished 1 mandate.
The first mandate.
Yes.
All right. You tell us what you have done during that mandate, and then what you intend to do for the people to vote for you.
Yeah.
John Danley Kumaze, you were the mayor of Douala for municipality for a mandate, and later on the CPDM snatched it from your hands. Have you been able to identify what went wrong? Have you corrected the mistake to be able to take back the council for the Social Democratic Front come February 9, 2020?
Look, Babla, before I answer your question, let me say something about the way I see this debate going on. The question you put to Professor Ngole was, is it possible to go to the area like Bangam where he was without being escorted by the military, by armored car? We wrapped up. What I want to say is that the Northwest and Southwest are at war. Let us not use words that there is insecurity, there is this and that. It is a full-blown war. And as Kejang was saying, how do you call for an election in a country? Our constitution, even our laws state that where there is a situation of calamity, of war, elections can be postponed. The Northwest and Southwest, it is clear, no matter what is done, pretend and carry armored cars, carry CPDM people and go there, there will be no elections there. This is clear. All what we're doing, we're deceiving our consciences and deceiving the population. There will be no elections in Northwest and Southwest. I am very convinced. If I am running in Douala here, as Kejang said, it is because we analyzed in the SDF, we knew that if elections cannot take place in the Northwest and Southwest, because of insecurity, because of the war that is going on, I just observed a second of silence in memory of those victims who are falling. And we thought that if it comes to a point where these elections will not hold, and they will not hold, as I tell you, and the 8 other regions are going in for elections, we who are here, we are going in for the elections knowing very well that as elections will not take place in the Northwest and Southwest, after these elections on the 9th of February, there shall be elections in the Northwest and Southwest, either partial elections or there shall be elections in any form.
That is, if the government agrees with you that after the results are proclaimed, the government agrees with you that there was no election because the presidential election took place. Everybody said there was no election, but there were percentages that came from those
you are
regions.
saying that the presidential elections took place in the Northwest and Southwest. Those were no elections. In any case, we can take that because it was a single constituency in the whole territory. And these were 2 regions that were not able to run to participate in the presidential elections.
And now we are talking about local elections.
Now we are talking about local elections where in certain local areas there will be no elections. And in the most part of Northwest and Southwest, there will be no elections. So there is no way where we shall say at the end that because people were able to go to Boya and launch in Boya, in Limbe, or perhaps the Secretary General of the CPDM was in the Congress or in Bamenda, it means that elections are taking place in the Northwest and Southwest. It is not true.
All right,
listen, you asked me a question.
Yes.
I was just trying to clarify that Professor Ngole and the others who spoke did not answer the question, is it possible to go to these areas without being escorted by armored cars?
And you're saying it's impossible.
If it's impossible. And if it is impossible and they manage and go there, what of the electorate? Shall they be escorted by armored cars to come and vote? Is there any organ of the electorate in these areas? There are none. We know this. It's not
many of the branch offices of elections.
Let me go back to the question you asked.
Right.
That I was mayor in Douala 4 and the CPDM snatched the elections. Effectively, they stole the elections.
No, the result said they won.
The result said they won, but that is how they win all over. So I am saying that there was fraud, and we knew that that is the method of the CPDM. But this time we have taken cognizance of that, as you were saying that are there particular measures that we have taken to take back the council. We're taking back the council because when you compare 2 things, the population has compared the tenure of office I was mayor, and they are comparing the tenure of office of my successor, who is Mayor Kum, and I'm telling you that he has been a tyrant on the population because, first of all, that is a council where in 1996, the SDF came and met the CPDM, the council in Douala 4 in a hired hall, a hired building. We built that council that you see. It is the SDF that built it. And then in all what we did, it is known by the population. So what you are asking me, the population will answer the question on the 9th of February, because I say he had been a tyrant, because this is a man who privatizes all taxes.
We'll get into details a little.
Yes. That's what I'm trying to say.
I'll come back to you in a short while. I'll come back to you in a short while.
Let me conclude your question. Where you say, is there have we put in place measures to take back the council? Very, very definite. We're taking back that council with absolute majority.
Okay, I'll come back to you. I'll come to you later, Prof. Okay. Kejang Henry, you are municipal candidate of the Social Democratic Front in the Douala 5 subdivision. Why should the people of the Douala 5 subdivision vote for Kejang Henry or vote for the list led by Deputy Mayor Carlos Gwalem? You are part of that list. Why should they vote for you?
They should vote because there are 57 points that we have elaborated, and these 57 points are 57 shortcomings of the present regime. Mayor Kumasi just said something. I'll just give you one example. It is the same thing in Douala 5. The mayor, Chief Ebanda Gustav, has privatized the collection of taxes, okay, council taxes. Now, if you did not know it today, you are living in Douala 5. They collect 800 million CFA francs. I say 800 million francs is collected by a subcontractor, okay, that they give it out as contract. Now, he collects 800 million. He now gives 200 to 250 million to the council. Ask yourself a simple question. Where has 600 million gone to?
Unfortunately, we could not.
No, we start asking. So the issue is that why will people vote for Kejang? Because we have a policy to reduce this tax pressure. We are going to suppress that rubbish called subcontracting. Council workers don't have work to do. There is this madness called Keep Douala Clean, Keep Douala 5 Clean. I mean, in terms of environment, know that we have a model, and I'll always love the Anglo-Saxon model. Once they tell you keep Kumba clean, I'm a Kumba boy. Everybody is out working, and the people, the controllers are there checking. In fact, it's a matter of, it's just part of you. You don't need to be reminded. But you tell people keep Douala 4 clean, people close their shops. 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock, 9, 10, 5 hours. Within 5 hours, you could make some money because the council needs money, the government needs money. So we think that open your shops, let the people open up, and then simultaneously they should be cleaning their surroundings rather than locking shops. Why do you lock the shops for? People come, they open the shops, but Mayor Kumasi knows this. I don't know when it's keep Douala clean.
It's on days.
So, but we have a lot of programs. There are 50 and do nothing. They don't clean. So open the shops and clean your environment, and then you are selling. However, I cannot, detail the 57 points. I will just bet Babila Jonathan that you take a copy of it, led by Gwalem, keep it for yourself. Right, Kumasi, hand it over. Give a copy to Professor Ngole. This is our program behind. There are 57 points elaborated. Give another copy to Dr. Temga. They will learn from it and know why they have to vote for Kejang Henry and Carlos Ngwalem.
All right, before you go, Kejang Henry,
take your own. Probably you help the electors vote for the
Let us say something on some of the crucial problems affecting the Douala.
Bad roads, of course, all the roads are. But then there's the first point on that our program is the road. It is easy technology. It's no money. We create paved roads. The paved road technology is nothing, and that is what entails. All of you have lived in Europe. You know what it takes. Whereas the tarred roads, the macadam, is very costly and very destructive. Okay, so we think that, and then Douala is low lying. You should not forget that. Look at Douala is at 0 degrees to the sea. So we think that the paved roads, even if it's damaged, we remove the paved, which is sustainable. That is why if you look at our program, we talk about the choice of action for sustainable development. Action is now. So you remove the paved road, you can put the pipes and then cover it. We have issues that relate to youth empowerment, because if you create this industry, it's an enterprise. It has nothing to do with billions. No, we are not going to scout, for billions from the twinning process, with councils. You just need to look for some small money, create an enterprise, produce these things. There is sand all over in our municipality. We produce the pave, and the youths will have employment. So of course, I don't want to repeat, because people talk about health, giving benches to schools, that's nothing. But we think that the major issue, roads, and Babila, before I leave, Douala 5, don't forget Professor Ngole, Dr. Temga, Dr. Temga rather, Douala 5 is the biggest municipality in Cameroon. And as we live in this Douala 5 has 3 times the size of Douala 1, which is Akwa, Dedo, Bonaprezo, Bonanjo. But Douala 5 is 3 times the size.
Surface area of over 210 kilometers square.
Good. It's the biggest and the most attractive. The business malls or the malls, the business people, the incentives, everybody is drifting towards Douala 5.
So, all right, your party has been present in Douala 5 for quite long now, from about 1996 to
yes, we had the first mayor. You see, the first mayor did everything and gave the beauty to that part of the country, of that municipality. CPDM came and damaged everything. And they have damaged Cameroon, and they have damaged everything.
Thank you very much, Kejan Henry, for coming. You're going to give your seat to Chief Joseph Mufo. He's the candidate of the party of Minister Jean de Dieu Momo, le patriote démocrate pour le développement du Cameroon, and he's the candidate of that party in the Douala 5 subdivision. Thanks for coming.
Thank you very much, and I wish Chief Mufo, Dr. Mufo, well, but I want to beg him before he comes that he should just give us his their votes, because I don't think they will even make anything. Well, I will leave my seat and leave a copy of our program, our project, because he will learn from this and then see reason to vote us. I'll just drop this one here, so that when he comes, he will just go through.
He's coming with his own agenda, with all the determination and conviction that they are going to grab the Douala 5 Council. Thanks, Kejan Henry, for coming. Professor Elvis Ngole, earlier, the former mayor of Douala 4 indicated that you didn't answer the question on the campaigns in the 2 Anglophone regions of the country, and he said that it is impossible without soldiers.
No,
it is impossible.
My answer is that it is possible, and we have proved that it is possible because we have gone to launch elections there.
With soldiers?
No. I said there is no election. No, that's why I'm saying that. There is no election anywhere in the world that is organized by the state where there will not be a minimum of state security, because that is the minimum a state has to give as a regalian duty. It is that in certain areas, for certain reasons or certain circumstances, there is reinforced security. For example, look, there were elections in Senegal with the problems in Casamance. There were elections in Great Britain with problems in Northern Ireland. There were elections in India with problems in Kashmir. There have been elections in our Western brotherly country, Nigeria, with the problems in the Northeast with Boko Haram. Look, there were elections in the United States in the 1800s with the Civil War. So the point is that we make so much ado about elections. See, you cannot want democracy if you are a republic such as ours, and at the same time run away from the agenda of the republic. The agenda of the republic is that once the people have opted for democracy, that means there must be elections, and the state, in its republican character, makes sure that the meaning of the republic is felt according to the law. The law says that the elections must take place because that is the agenda of the republic. And the elections take place, but in taking place, at certain moments, there are certain flashpoints or problems in certain areas, but the fact that those problems are there do not disturb, distract, or deprive the state from carrying out its regalian duty. And the fact that those flashpoints are there does not deprive the citizens of the freedom or the opportunity to exercise their freedom in choosing whom they want to elect them. So you don't need
understand from that.
Yeah. So in Bangem or in Boya or in Bamenda, the state has guaranteed, as a matter of law and as a matter of political legitimacy, that there will be elections. Elections have taken place, and they will take place. But let me retort to Mayor Kumaze's point where he said the CPDM has stolen the elections. The first thing is that the CPDM doesn't have a record of accusing any political party of having stolen an election or a victory somewhere. We respect the results as have been proven.
But the CPDM is the party in power.
Well, but the party in power is in competition with other parties.
Everything to
you cannot accuse the party that they have stolen when they did not steal.
With all due respect,
accusing the CPDM that they steal because they steal.
Mayor Kumaze, don't forget that the CPDM has competed with the SDF in almost every election, and you won 7 senatorial seats that were in the last Senate elections.
Yes.
But the CPDM did not challenge and accuse that you did. The point of trying to make is that we are Democrats, and we are happy when we all compete like Democrats in a very civilized manner. We will never accuse anybody, because the most important thing in a democracy is that the state which organizes it gives us a minimum of security. But look, you can go to Bangem, and people go to Bangem without having to be in an armored car. I didn't go to Boya in an armored car. I didn't go to Bangam in an armored car. I didn't come back in an armored car. And other people are doing the same.
Let's welcome our fifth panelist tonight, Chief Joseph Mufo. You are the candidate of the party of Jean de Dieu Momole, Patriote démocrate pour le développement du Cameroun, in the Douala 5 municipality. Welcome to the program.
Thank you, Mr. Babila Jonathan.
What's your take on the unfolding of the campaigns and, of course, the upcoming elections in the 2 Anglophone regions of the country?
Well, about concerning the 2 regions, that they are facing a lot of problems. I'm from one of the regions. If the head of state have said he has taken measure so that the election should be held on these 2 regions, we are not God. It's only God that judges people. And if he come to succeed that really election has been held in these 2 regions, we know politicians do politics, and if there is peace in these 2 regions after the elections, we will know he have succeeded to do something for the benefits of all Cameroonians. Let's put everything in the hands of God, because I have a special message to deliver.
But God needs to use human beings on earth.
Yes, God needs to use human beings, Mr. Babila.
Peace, for example,
I have a special message to give out. My constituency is Douala 5, where I visit. I'm keeping a lot of IDPs from these 2 regions. If some of the people have remained there, and the head of state have decided so that they can vote so that the peace should reign in these 2 regions, let all put ourselves in prayer, meditations and prayer, because people are suffering.
All right,
I'm keeping, excuse me, Mr. Babila, I'm keeping at least 300, close to 400 IDP in Makapemisoke, where I visit. Especially in that small locality, you can imagine what the whole Douala can carry. They have been there for 2 years and some months. In fact, if God can help, elections takes place and there is peace in these 2 regions. That is my best wishes, because they tell me their stories every day. They want to go back to their various regions because they are suffering. Thank you.
All right. Dr. Ntemgwa Paul Sixtus, the mayor of Alo, in the BLM Southwest region of the Republic of Cameroon. You have been at the helm of that subdivision, of that council area, for the past 5 years.
Yeah.
What have you done during these past 5 years to improve on the living conditions of the people?
Well, I must first of all apologize to the Alo people who must have been waiting for all this while. Maybe they are even asleep without hearing what the mayor came here to say. But,
go ahead, please.
Better late than never. We came into the council in 2013, and we planned to do things. I can say what we planned to do, and we have done them. In brief, what we have done, one, I just cite the outstanding ones. The summary of all what we have done from 2013 to 2018 to 2019 is inside this magazine, Development-Oriented Counselors of Alog. That is a 56-page document which has all the projects that we have carried out from 2013 up to 2019. I cannot give all here, but we have many copies already circulating in the municipality.
All right. So what are some of the major things that,
that
will convince them to vote for you again?
One, the community radio, which was co-financed by the Alog Council and the PNDP, became operational in 2016, and it was the outbreak of the escalating Anglophone crisis that stopped it from operating, because everybody had to go away from the place. The second thing is the council chambers. This is what we envisage to be the
new council,
the council chambers. This is the three-dimensional plan of the council chambers. It was this is what was supposed to come out to be. Now we went up to the roofing level in 2016 before the work stopped as a result of the crisis. We appraise the efforts of FECOM in financing this project, and PNDP for financing the community radio. Then in the area of water supply, we can talk of the Trans-Lewo water supply. The road maintenance has been a priority. We have medical supplies to 7 health units. All the supplies are there in a warehouse in Chang. They have been supplied, but we want to keep them somewhere. We had rented a warehouse, kept them there for subsequent transfer to the health centers in Alo. We have construction of schools, construction of bridges, Polygop, Membi, and there are several culverts. Electrification has been in Jenawung, has been in Atra, 2 phases, Ajangam at Sola, we're at Mbagule and Mendie, and so on.
So
now, we have...
When you look at what you have done this far, and you look at the people's living conditions today, do you think that something has improved? Do you feel that there has been an improvement? When you speak to them, do they express some satisfaction with regards to their living conditions today?
They do not, because they are not staying at home right now. But most of the projects carried out last year brought many people back to participate, because we had an authorization to run the roads on direct labor, using the population to do most of the work for pay, not just community work. Many people went back to work on those roads, and they were paid with the money allocated for that. Now, these are some of the highlights of what we've done. And for what we are intending to do,
I'll come back to you later for that.
Yes.
In a short while, I'll come back to you. Mayor Danley Kumazi, when you look at the Douala 4 subdivision today, when you look at Bonaberi, the quarters of the subdivision, and the living conditions of the people, there are problems of hygiene, problems of roads, many problems plaguing the Douala 4 municipality. What are you bringing in that will be different from what the CPDM has been doing for the past 5 years? that will convince the people to say, okay, let's go back to the SDF. Let's go back to John Danley Kumasi?
I will put the question in a different way and answer it in my conception. You see, the Douala 4 municipality, as I started, when you gave me the floor for the first time, I said, we are going through tyranny. You have talked about hygiene and sanitation. The real problems of Douala 4 at the moment is that I am addressing the workers of the council. As you find that beautiful building, there has been no water in the toilets for the past 3 years. They take buckets, go and carry water from the tap, climb the stairs to go and put water in the toilet of the mayor and other assistant mayors in buckets. No water. That is the first thing. There is no water in several quarters in Bonaberi. This is what we are having in mind, that we are calling on the Bonaberi population to liberate themselves because they are victims of very poor governance in Bonaberi. Secondly, I first talked about privatization of taxis. I said the mayor has privatized taxis to private individuals. You just heard Mr. Kejan talking about privatization. It's in violation of the law. State finances are not supposed to be recovered by private individuals. But this has been privatized. You have taxes like the market tickets, which the mayor has privatized to an individual, and they collect it in violation of the amount that is stated. Mobile children who are selling things on their heads, they are supposed to pay 100 francs, but they hold them, seize their goods, go and put them in stores, they get rotten or they get dry, and they collect 500 francs a day. This is what I'm saying, that it is in violation of the law.
And you're coming in to change that?
Yes, we are going to come in to change that. I am saying this, the traders, the women, particularly in Mabanda market, have to know that there is a man in the market that they have nicknamed Boko Haram, who is somebody that the mayor has privatized the market to him, and he collects the taxes as he wants. We are going to ask the population to vote us in so as to liberate themselves from the hands of Boko Haram. Right, the council is a local government, and the priority of the local government is to protect the population and their property. I am saying that we are coming in to protect the population from harassment of people who have taken hostage the council by privatization. You find motorcycle riders. They are riding the motorcycle, carrying their passengers. You find people that have been recruited by a private company, arresting them or catching them. You can remember a few months ago or about a year ago, there was an accident near the council because
the council workers were
not only those were not council workers, those are people who have been recruited by a private individual, and they chase and arrest motorcycle riders as if they were chasing criminals, and then at a certain time they will fall with all the passengers on top of the motorcycle and they wound themselves. We are going to put an end to that. We are going to stop that. And also we want to say that if the population liberates themselves by voting the SDF into the council, we are going to see that water is extended to so many quarters. And the worst of all is roads. You have just talked about the roads. The roads are so bad. You see, for some time, the Ministry of Town Planning and Urban Development and Housing paved some roads in Bonaberi. I heard the mayor in one of his outings saying that he has paved roads and so on. That is complete lie. Councils have their functions. Councils take responsibility for earth roads. Paved roads, tar roads are the responsibility of the Ministry of Town Planning and Urban Development under supervision of the City Council. So it is not the mayor who has paved those roads. If somebody starts telling lies, it means that he is stealing the project of another person, and stealing is not permitted. So let him not think that the Bonaberi population, they are as dull as he thinks that they are.
Maybe the ministry paved some of the roads, and some others were paved by the council. The Chief Mofo,
the council has no, it's not their function to pave roads. The council has no budget to pave roads.
Chief Joseph
So
Mofo,
the council.
What is PADEC proposing as a solution to the problems plaguing the Douala 5 subdivision, projects that can convince the people to vote for your list?
Yes, PADEC. I am of the PADEC party. Leaders are born. We don't make ourselves leader. PADEC have been fighting to put street light even before fighting to be mayor of Douala 5. PADEC has been fighting for insecurity in that municipality.
Against insecurity?
Yes, because there's a lot of insecurity in Douala 5. If PADEC has decided...
How have you been doing that, fighting against
Yes, about insecurity and keeping even this IDP. He has been contributing to feed some of them. These are kinds of things. Douala 5 don't have good routes. All routes are bad. You cannot live from one point to another. There is fire disaster. Before the fire brigade came, this is how they will suffer till the way with no routes, which things are not fine. PADEC party is fighting so that Douala 5 municipalities, you have his fire brigade at that same municipality.
Within the municipality?
Yes, so that when there is fire, they should not be living right at
from
Aqua.
Godi,
Yes, from Godi to come and say, before they come, everything must have all been damaged by fire. PADEC is equally fighting to put an archives of books. Douala municipality is the biggest municipality in the whole Cameroon, but there are not archives of stars, writers, authors, that children's history is the study of past 7, but you have nowhere to go and sit and do. People that they are managing the municipality now, to the best of their knowledge, they think they are managing it well, but the populations are not satisfied. Eye is better than ear. Permit me. I want to deliver the message to the population of Douala 5.
Go ahead, please.
That this is the right moment, at the right time, to vote the right person to manage the municipality because of this decentralization. And as I have taken a decision to manage with PADEC party, I am the right person to bring that change. I will say something in 10 dialects or 8 dialects here, so that the populations of this municipality that governs, majorities are from Chang and seconds are Anglophones, which I am one. Mwen singe message mbonye tsam. Yi nanga nonjoga platon le 9 février. Nda pe kwangtam ozo pe rom voter parti PADEC. Nda pe kwangtam ozo pe yik. Mwen ngom fo patriote patson pour aller chin pour ngang. Nja longo ko le 9 pirambi bulletin PADEC ko voter. Si les chilagol nzo pi seno. Pi parle jou me. Monsieur Kamtonen gagne pi parle ga élection. Pi lus 5e mandatum ngam voter. Chief Mofo a créé mairie.
Bien
c'est yingi. Emengonje mbanda ngo mbafun babaju. Pe kwanda le 9 ngombié bulletin ngu voter PADEC momo Jean de Dieu. Un défi dembo mutsamanga affaire de 9 ngane voter le chie pe pa John Kuma se faire. Nga frende ngane voter PADEC. Mo sin chumbo pumbo nchinda tsu ngo pu chenda ngo tam ku mo photo mo ba te nang plateau. ngo pour voter padek non pas ne panzu you monsieur kam to chonela.
I believe they have
Mansingamba ngo akumo a ferinde a londe ngen voter padek fait message mbo la atsama.
I believe they have heard you. Let's come back to Prof. We'll come back to you in a short while. Dr. Ntimgwa, let's talk about what you intend to do for the people of Alo in the next 5 years.
In brief, our plan for beginning from this financial year, we have a market to be constructed at 50,700,000 in Mombin market. Mbelenka Sense Road 25 million, bridge at Fortia 15 million, electrification at Nsang, with part of this money going for solar energy supply of electricity around the council is 40 million. We have Kongol Letier Road, which is 16 million, and we have decided to extend the road right down to the palace of Mwangong, because that's the only palace which does not have a good road to right to the palace. We want to spend 50 million on that road. This year we had an allocation of 100 million for roads, because the 27 million we had before was well spent, and so the Minister of Public Works raised our own money to 100 million this time around, and want to use it partly to extend the road from Atula. 70 million of it will go for the road from Atula down to Anyalewo, and then 30 million will be used to augment the 16 million for the road to the palace of Mwangong. Now we applied for funding from the Ministry of Housing and Urban Development 2 years ago, and I have a letter here which the minister wrote to say that they would have a special credit of 248 million for the opening of streets in Alo.
I was going to ask you, because you mentioned so many millions there, and I was going to ask you how you're going to raise that money, considering the fact that you've not been collecting taxes like many other councils in Anglophone Cameroon. You've not been able to collect taxes. Council activities have been practically paralyzed.
You're right.
So I was going to ask you how you're going to raise the money. Is it only the ministry that will finance all of those projects?
No, we are called to manage councils within the context of what is available from whatever source, whether it is from our partners, FECOM, PNDP, or the state. We are there to manage all these resources, to make sure that the monies are used judiciously for the development of the area. It is not, when you talk of taxes, what do we collect as taxes in Alo? In fact, for more than 3 years now, we have not collected any market tolls, taxes, and toll gates collections. We have not been collecting anything. We have depended on the FECOM allocation just to pay our workers. But if you are elected mayor, you are there to manage the resources that come from all sources. In fact, we are even thinking of what can come from outside. We have gone into the stage of twinning with councils abroad. In 2016, I was in Italy at the Silano Council, where we went into some agreement to twin in order to carry out, finance the project called the AgroPole. In fact, the AgroPoles were created in this country, 9 of them, one of which was in Lebialem, for the transformation of potatoes. The transformation can take place in my municipality because it is there that the potatoes are produced. So
another question is, how are you going about executing all those projects? I mean, those that you mentioned earlier.
Yeah.
And how do you intend to execute all those projects with regards to the security situation of the area, which is making things quite difficult to do some of the things that you're citing there?
Yeah, that's the question many people have asked, how I go about it. In fact, before the crisis escalated in the BLM, we have been working normally. In fact, the thing did not just come all at once. There were safe zones. There are areas where corridors existed where we could manage to pass, to go and execute projects and so on and so forth. In 2017, for example, our council came second position in the execution of projects. And we had a letter of congratulation from the governor for that. And this year, what is inside here is not fictitious. Go through this and you'll find that projects were being carried out.
Dr. Ntimgo, what you're saying now is actually sounding very good. But when government says we are unable to complete the Babaju-Bamenda Road because of security issues, there's no way that work can continue there because of security problems. And then, Allah, that is far off inside there, in the heart of one of the hardest hit areas, the Libyan division. And you're able to do all these things, and you still intend to do more. We tempted to ask, but the mayor of Allah, is he a friend to some people?
A friend to some people.
Like to some people, the community and
the community welcomes.
It's not attacked. The workers are not attacked, and so on.
No, the thing I've told you that it was not all at once that the insecurity spread all over the BLM. Before the thing escalated, we had carried out many of these projects, and within last year, we were carrying out road projects even in the by what you call direct labor. These are the pictures.
The population coming out
to work and be paid. It is to the villagers a new phenomenon of direct labor, where they used to dig their roads as community work, but they now come out, work, and they are paid.
And in some of those pictures, I saw tractors. I saw heavy-duty machines on the road, and so.
Yes, we use the Génie militaire.
The military engineering.
Yes, to do some of the work, and I still intend to use them because at least they provide some security.
Okay. So we hope that you'll be able to do all of that.
The Agropro project is a very ambitious one, and we pray for the return of peace so that Agropro project takes off, because the link we have created with the Serrano Council in Italy is such that the industrialists there are themselves councillors. They have a plant there where they transform potatoes and export to other parts of Europe. They visited Alo in 2015, and they were convinced that they could install their equipment there.
Professor Elvis Ngolenkole, you're the leader of the campaign team in the Kupe Manikupa division. That is a division that is plagued by, I want to say, plethora of problems, especially bad roads. Bad roads and other problems, health amenities, other social facilities, and so on. What is the CPDM bringing to the people, coupled with all these underdevelopment problems, insecurity? The Anglophone crisis has come to aggravate the situation, and you're telling the people to vote for the CPDM. And if some of them are listening to you now, they're asking, but why should we continue to vote for the CPDM? Why should we continue to vote for the CPDM?
It's a good question, and it brings me to the point where I have to ask, why, and you've asked it, why should people vote for the CPDM? People should vote for the CPDM in Kupe Manikupa division and in the other 57 divisions of the Republic, because the CPDM has demonstrated in its record that in spite of the challenges that we've got, it is the best guarantee for our development. It is the best guarantee for peace. It is the best guarantee for unity of our country. It is the best guarantee for us to arrive and achieve emergence. The CPDM is the best guarantee for decentralization to take place, for a new Cameroon that is truly decentralized to take place, with the Northwest and Southwest having special status. The CPDM is the best guarantee for the women of Cameroon to take pride of place as far as the progress of Cameroon is concerned. The CPDM is the best guarantee for the youths of Cameroon to take their place. That is why if you look at all the CPDM lists in the 58 legislative division constituencies and in the 360 municipal constituencies, you discover that the youths and the women occupy pride of place.
But many people who may be listening to you now will say that that guarantee you're talking about has dashed their hopes, the expectations for over 30, close to 4 decades today, and you're still asking them to vote for you?
Well, the record is there. The people of Cameroon have continued to give their votes in favor of the CPDM. That means that in the elections that have taken place since 1992, you've seen that the CPDM has continued to win the elections. That tells you that the people of Cameroon appreciate the record, appreciate the manifesto of the CPDM, and appreciate the men and women that the CPDM validates as their candidates in the various elections. And the CPDM, that is why the CPDM campaign for these twin elections is a campaign of characterized by love, passion, the truth, sincerity, integrity, discipline, communication. We door-to-door campaigns. We are not afraid of our people. Our people deserve. Our people. We are a republic and we are in a democracy. Our people are the ones who have the last word, and our people know best. They cannot be duped by detractors and so forth. They know that if there is one party that's fighting for the peace, for the unity, for the progress, and for the emergence of Cameroon, that party is the CPDM. Our challenges notwithstanding, no other political party has succeeded to be able to challenge this record of the CPDM, and the CPDM will continue to defend that record, and hopefully in the next few days as we go through the campaign, the people will understand that all that the CPDM wants for Cameroon is that let there be peace, and we'll do everything possible, sympathize, empathize, reconcile, beg our people in the Northwest and Southwest, our young boys and girls in many divisions of the Northwest and Southwest have already begun to understand that violence is not good, destruction is not good, and they're coming back to the fold, and we appreciate them. We hope that these young boys and girls who have come back to the fold will convince and inspire the others to leave their bushes, to lay down their arms, and let them come back. Let us work together for a Cameroon of peace, for a future with hope, and for emergency to come 2035. I think that there is no party that can have such a golden manifesto as the CPDM does, not to talk of the record. The record is there.
All right. John Danley Kumazi, last word before we go.
I am sorry that the CPDM in the Wuri division, none of them is on the panel here, and they had to import Professor Ngolengole from Yaoundé to come and is preaching generally about what the CPDM is up to. But I know that in Douala 4, the CPDM is a curse to the population, and I think that if the roots are rotten, then the tree itself is completely gone, because it's not being harsh. It's what the message anyway. Let me go out of what I'm saying and address a message directly to the population of Bonaberi.
In some few words,
yes, I am calling on the population of Bonaberi. That is the market women, the bike riders, and the traders in general who have been suffering from harassment by private people to whom taxes have been privatized, to rise up on the 9th of February and vote for the SDF to remove the bad governance of the CPDM in the council, because if they don't come out to vote, it means that they want to remain in their own prison that they have created, which is not good for them. Let them come and vote. And I want to say that there are bad fruits. If you have a bad seed in a basket, it can spoil the whole basket of fruit.
All right.
There is a certain third assistant mayor in Douala 4, they call 2 Point. When they were giving mattresses to IDPs, he went and carried a mattress, and the SDO of Wuri had to ask, I know him as assistant mayor, is he also an IDP? That was stealing. So that
we will avoid personal targeted accusations. Targeted accusations, because he is not here to give his own version of the story. Chief Mofo, in some few seconds.
Give me at least 2 minutes.
Yes, in some few seconds.
Yes.
You have 20 seconds.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Babala Jonathan. I am calling all the populations of Douala 5 not to doubt anything, to vote. This is the bulletin of Padek, to vote Padek. It is the person that will change the life of Douala 5. The moment has come, and he is the right person at the right place. Vote for this. Nobody should convince you. If you have been suffering for all kinds of inundation, for all kinds of roots infiltration, badly repaired, and nobody can take care, mosquitoes, everything, with no security light, with no potable water, taps all around, I am coming to give you this. Nobody should fool you people. The time has come, and the right person has come at the right place and at the right moment of decentralization. Thank you very much, the population of Douala 5. I'm with you people. We are together, both in spirit and in mind, to bring change in Douala 5.
Thank you. Dr. Ntemwa, we're concluding with you. Some few seconds.
My prayer to my community is that, to God, is that let peace come and we achieve most of what is here on paper. We have dock everywhere. I spend much of my time going around to various ministries to get out these allocations, which I don't just give out, because there's time peace will come, and that money, I don't believe in the money returning to the public treasury. I believe in the money being used to develop the place,
to improve on the living conditions of the people. Thank you, Doctor, for coming. Yeah. Professor, thank you for coming. You are the leader of the defense, or the campaign team of the CPDM in the Kupe Moningoba division. Thank you, John Danle Kumazi, municipal candidate, Douala 4, Social Democratic Front. Thank you for coming.
Thank you very much.
Chief Joseph Mofo, thank you for coming. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for staying with us in this edition of the special program consecrated to the 2020 municipal and legislative elections in the Republic of Cameroon. We'll be back on set on Saturday. Tomorrow, Duval Fangwa is going to be here with his guests, with other candidates vying for respective or different positions of responsibility at the municipal and legislative elections. Thank you for staying with us. Good night.